Hey, how's it going today? We're walking along the road while I talk to you. I'm pretending it's normal to talk to a camera because today I'm bringing you with me on a research trip. So, I've been working on this project for about 4.5 months. What a privilege. And one of the things that has been interesting about having this time to focus on my practice is just how much research is involved, how much reading. That was something that I didn't anticipate, but has been so useful. It has created this huge kind of interior world of thoughts and ideas. I've kind of expanded my interior world to be able to generate more ideas and stuff. And one of the things that I have been reading about and have been interested in are these ancient Bronze Age and even older dugout canoes that were discovered back in 2012. And I've been reading about them, looking at pictures of them. Today we're going to see the real thing. So these are the boats that inspired the paint pattern which is on my piece Imagined Heritage. So this is like it's this sort of significant part of my research and my thinking that we get to go and see in life today. So something to think about as we speed along on this trains that took me from my home in Folkestone into London, out the other side, and now we're on our way to Peterborough. Something to consider is just how this kind of infrastructure, moving things around, is so important for society to function. And society that we have now, the society on this scale, it's dependent on these kinds of networks that are able to carry goods, carry people across immense distances. That's something that's always been true, and before there were decent roads, before there were trains, there were boats, and that was the way that we did it. And that's why it's such an amazing and interesting technology to think about, and an interesting lens through which to think about our history. In this room are posts covered by water. They must remain in the water all the time, or they are just going to disintegrate and disappear. This is a 3,000-odd-year-old causeway that once went across the fens here, and it was a way for people to be able to move across the landscape and reach this island, which is amazing to me that it's survived this long. But also, this is something that was built by ancient people as a way of getting about that took on religious significance. So there's loads of things that have been left here, that were left here by those people, like broken swords and other kinds of amazing archaeological artifacts that have been put on this site where this 1 kilometre long causeway was, which was built, by the way, by driving wooden stakes into the ground and planking between them, and kind of creating almost like a beaver's dam across the water. And that's interesting to me, that there was this linking between the practical and the spiritual that is tied up in the way we as humans are interacting with, working with, and sometimes working against the landscape in order to survive. And that there is this intrinsic connection between the pragmatic and the spiritual in our ancient consciousness. So behind me now is a bog. Doesn't it look interesting? Okay, it doesn't look that interesting, but it is fascinating. So this bit of bog is where the first post for the causeway that we looked at earlier was first discovered. It's also where the oldest wheel ever found in Britain was discovered. The oldest wheel. That's amazing to me, because you kind of think a wheel is such an integral piece of technology that it's hard to imagine a time where that wasn't a thing, where it didn't exist. The idea that there is an oldest, that there might be a first. Obviously this wouldn't be the first, this is just the oldest one that has survived, but still it kind of, what's the word, evokes that idea that once there was a first, once there was a time where the wheel was novel. Behind me in this brown building are the 5 Bronze Age boats that I came to see, and the pieces of yet more boats. It's a bit frustrating. I rang ahead, asked if they're on display. They said yes, but they're behind glass because they're being preserved. This I was aware of. So the boats are like nearly entirely water at this point. So there's quite a bit of work being done in order to preserve them. So I knew that they'd be behind glass and that they wouldn't be too easy to see. However, I was not told, and I was not aware, that they're also wrapped in bubble wrap, so you can't even get a good look at them. So that's frustrating, because that was really the entire reason for coming. But never mind, so it goes. But I did learn one thing that I didn't know from my reading on the internet, which is this, that the boats, although very finely crafted, have been repaired in a much more kind of like DIY, homemade way, like clay jammed into cracks and such, which feels very relatable, because that's always how we do things, isn't it? We always will tape something or do some kind of quick fix on our favourite things, rather than build something new or finally craft a repair. We like the quick fix, we can keep using it, because these were practical objects and not just craft pieces.